this wasn't, because we've never seen him before. Okay, but that's,
Never had an issue with it.
yeah.
I'm just falling apart today.
What is the gentleman's name? Across from Bill. The big
32
guy.
hours, assist other agencies.
That's, I've got to talk to him about it. I actually, the truck I bought, his son wanted to buy it. I saw it, I bought it like that.
Yeah.
Right down.
I just got the payoff today, so.
Huh?
The payoff I just sent out and it's on there, it's still the payoff. This one, I just got it today, so I don't know how you wanna handle it. It's been added, but usually we get it ahead of time, but
You don't have much choice, huh?
at least it's not like 1.6 million.
How much is it?
231.
You've arrived, your final
That's why I said
destination.
so. But I just want you to know that I didn't get it, so that's why you didn't have it.
There is a bump on 61, so don't hit it at 100.
Cause you know I'm gonna be in a hurry.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
thank you.
tell you now, cause when you get it and complain, it's gonna be like,
I'm gonna call you.
you can call me all you want. I'm gonna tell you my response.
Okay. Hopefully we'll be out of here before then. Yeah.
Bless you.
Looks dead at your house for a few days.
My chair needs some WD-40. I better not wiggle too much today.
All right, it's 5:30. I'll call this meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All for say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Mark, how many firefighters are you still short after these two? While it's on the radar.
I hope to have one more next month, and still would like one more, but I'd like to do 2 more.
Okay, so you're about 3 or 4 short.
Yeah, actually I need 2 more.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All for say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll now have open forum. If anyone would like to speak, you can come up to the podium, state your name and address, and voice your concern. There we go.
My name is Julie Fraley, 6235 Highway 25 Northeast. And maybe this is going to be covered later on in new business, but I had some concerns about, or I would like to inquire about, the Highway 25 right-of-way ditch in front of our house and whether or not it is considered completed.
You want to take it now or you want to wait?
Wait till the update maybe for the project.
Okay. We'll let you speak then
Yeah,
too if you
yeah.
need to, if you have, if any other questions when we get talking about it.
Good enough?
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak right now? If not, we will have wastewater regional update with Jared Vogie, please.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Update for you. We did have a construction meeting here today or this afternoon. Contractor's been working on testing the pipe that's in the ground, working on the odor control building, doing some site grading around the lift stations. Also, there are on their schedule or radar is to complete some gravel and bituminous pavement repairs throughout various areas along the project. And then we did have a relatively lengthy discussion regarding the seeding concerns that have been expressed, and the contractor does have that on their punch list, or we have that on our punch list for them to be complete. And obviously they won't receive full payment for everything until all the items are satisfactorily addressed. They do intend to come back in early September once the heat subsides and conditions are more conducive for growing grass. There are some rocks that need to be removed. There's sod chunks, things that need to be leveled out, and areas that definitely need to be reseeded. So they were made well aware of that today, and they've known about it in the past. It's just right now to put any seed down, I don't know that we were going to have much success with that. So early September is the anticipated time when they're going to be back. Aside from that, just a couple other updates. Generators still looking like it's October, November for their delivery. So work continues to progress. They're working on the manhole modifications at the connection location at St. Cloud. So pipes in and moving forward. So any questions that council might have?
Well, definitely the, along 25,
Mm-hmm.
with the letter that we received, that is on a punch list.
Yep.
And you're well aware of the problems that are there,
Yeah.
so
As is the contractor. Yep.
how's that?
I heard, rocks and sod chunks.
Yep.
Are they gonna address any issues with the grading at all?
Yeah, that would be part of it at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where is the generator? Where does that go in the odor control station? Where does that get placed?
At the lift stations.
Oh, at each lift station?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Any other residents have concerns, or have we got it covered to your satisfaction?
So far, it sounds good.
Okay.
And your driveway too.
Yeah. Yeah, bituminous and, yep.
Any other discussion with the, Mr. Vogie?
What percent are we at as far as completion?
76%. Yep.
So there is a slight chance that this could be all tied up and finished by the end of the year. If the parts come in.
There's a chance.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'd ask for a motion to, I gotta find the right one. Payment estimate number 11.
So moved.
Second,
Any other discussion on that? Otherwise, all four say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried.
Thanks, council.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Jared.
Department reports, Katie McMillan.
All right, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, first I'll start with our stat report today. For the month of July, we had 420 calls. We had 18 hours of speed enforcement for TZD and additional 6.5 impaired driving to give us a total of TZD hours of 24.5. Some of the things to point out, traffic enforcement, speed was our primary focus for July, and so that is why those are up. Suspicious activity calls we are up and we encourage people to continue to call in and cause we can't be everywhere, so if you see something, report it. And also a reminder to lock your vehicles and take all your valuables out. We had there's been 2 reports of thefts from the vehicles that were unlocked. Animal complaints continue to be on the rise for us. Reminder, you have to have your dogs registered with the city, keep them licensed, and have them on a leash. Don't have them running around if you can't control them on your property. So, those keep us busy. Any questions with the stat report before I move on? Yes.
I just want to remind the council too, and maybe the chief can elaborate too, on what TZD hours mean, and where the officers can all go during TZD hours and how the reimbursement. Could you just kind of generally, for our newer members, make sure they're aware of how that works?
Yes, TZD is funded all through the state. Additionally, it comes out of our payment, but we get reimbursed for overtime rate and for the mileage, gas, everything is covered. The fringe rate. They can go, technically we are licensed by the state, so we can go technically anywhere in the state, but I encourage my officers to, especially for speed, DWI, stick close to Foley because you represent Foley and there's crime here too. So you will not see an officer working a TZD over by Sauk Rapids or St. Cloud. That is one thing they have to stay out east of our area here. And so all the officers have additional training on that. It's called FSFT training, and they have A-RIDE training, and they have to have that in order to do this TZD training.
So with that, our officers will be out of city limits from time to time.
Yep, and that's all documented when they go out on TZD on their timesheets. They mark it over in the other column, and that they're notified they notify dispatch that they're working TZD, and so, which dispatch has been busy, so, with that. Yep.
How many officers participated in the 24 hours of the TZD?
And for that one, there was just 2 of them.
Okay.
This time. There's 4 of us, actually 5 of us are licensed, or are able to, are trained to do it. We have all our training. But I take a step back and let the other officers get the overtime rate and if they need it, so. All right, we also had our Rip Your Float social last month. We had about 72 people come, a lot more than last year. Last year we only had like 20 some. Thank you to the Sheriff Heck for coming, and also Councilmember Mathwitz for helping us out. I appreciate it. That is basically what I have for that, and unless you have anything before we move into the discussion about the part-timer.
Any reports of rabid animals in town?
Not to us. We just dealt with a snapping turtle, but no rabid. So.
Thank you.
How about distemper?
Nope, we have not. A few
I
years ago.
have a raccoon running around. He has been injured, but he doesn't appear to have distemper. And I would think he would be dead by now.
Mm-hmm. And with the drier temps we've had, they're out during the daytime when they're usually not looking for water source or food source. So they are out more than what you usually expect them to be. Right, the next thing I have then is discussion and approval for the permanent part-time position, which I went down the seniority list. Officer Cody Pausch was the next in line that was interested. This would allow Cody to work 20 hours on average a week. This will help, as you can see, with our extreme call load that we've had. That will help with that. And just alone today, I took, with our ordinance enforcements and calls, I took over 15 calls today. And responding to emails, records requests, and so we're busy. And officers are also reaching their max for vacation and their comp time, which they need to use also. So having Officer Pausch work 20 hours a week will help a lot with the coverage and with also allowing the other officers to take off so they're not over their time. And with this, with your approval of this, then we will draft a memorandum of understanding and then present that to the union for their approval. Which this position will be where he can get basically 20 hours, no benefits, which that means no vacation, sick, comp, no insurances. So it's just allowing him to work the 20 hours.
Does he qualify for para?
They do already.
Okay.
Will
So I
he
am,
be-
yep.
Will
sorry.
he be a voting member of the union?
Yes. The difference between the working over the 14 hours is that he would be considered a part of the bargaining unit of the union.
And he's backfill from another exiting officer, right?
Well, he's been with us for over a year. So we've never had a position of this 20-hour coverage before. So it's something that we are looking into and steps so we don't have to pay, because I know the importance of the budget and not paying benefits. So this way, hopefully, meet what the city needs, what our department needs, and also not having to do that.
And hopefully we can close the revolving door on our part-timers.
Correct. Yes, and Officer Pausch, I will believe if you offer him as much, he is the one who will work nonstop for you. He has a very good work ethic for being at a young age, so.
I've had dealings with him in the environment, and he's a very good officer.
So what are you looking at from us? We just need to say,
Yep, I am looking for a motion for your approval to promote Cody Pausch from temporary part-time to permanent part-time. We're average of 20 hours.
I'll make that motion. We move Officer Pausch to a permanent part-time position with 20 hours.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all four say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried.
Thank you. The next thing I have on my list is, we will be posting, the public hearing notice for our body cameras. Per Minnesota state statute, we have to have a public hearing before we implement our body cameras. I had the policy completed. It's very similar to the sheriff's office policy, so there's uniformity there. And our legal department has also overlooked it and gave us the blessing for it. So the next, we need a motion for that? Okay. Okay, to set the public hearing then for September 5th, I am looking for a motion for that.
Motion to approve public hearing for September 5th on the body cameras.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I have a question. Is there any training required to operate or to have these or to use them or anything like that?
No, what we got them from Royalton Police Department, upgraded their cameras, and one of our part-timers is the Royalton chief, and they were so nice and donated them to us. They're the same as the county. All the officers know how to use them. We're actually the minority of departments that don't have them, so. And they're very easy to operate, so. Just 3 buttons on them.
There will be a policy as when you will have them on.
Yes, that's all in the policy that will be brought forth at the next meeting.
Any other discussion? If not, all four say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried.
That is all I have for you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Being it's August 1st and it's Cannabis Day, I guess, what did the county decide on their ordinance? Are we following them?
They are, in a couple weeks, they're having a board meeting to approve that for not allowing it in their parks or public areas.
Public hearing on the 15th.
15th, thank you, yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Chief? Hearing none, thank you. City engineer, Jared Griffith is back.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Don't have much tonight. A quick update on Trunk I-23 project, though. I spoke with the MnDOT's project manager. He is working with the prime contractor on getting through their punch list. Another update on the push buttons. The shop drawings for those have been approved. I haven't heard on the lead time for those, but those are, I just want you to know that is moving forward. And then the radar feedback signs, we did get the permit approved for those to be installed between 13th and the speed limit sign east of 13th. There's a no parking sign kind of currently where that sign will be installed. So other than that, open to take any questions you may have, but that is all I have for tonight.
Anyone have any questions for Jared? Thank you.
Thanks.
Public Works, Mark Pappenfuss.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Nothing special tonight, just staying busy, general street stuff, painting all the crosswalks, all that. Stump removal, and now they're fixing a bunch of catch basins and all that. Trying to think if you have any questions on any of that stuff. The bridge, we had from out by 11th and 13th out there, we sold that on min bid, you said. The guy picked it up today. $7,900 we got for that.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
up in Two Harbors tonight, spending the night it is.
And we're gonna do trails, we're gonna try to do some trails with that.
We're gonna maybe roll some of that money and put some extra trail maintenance this year. The bucket truck sold, 5,825 we got. We do pay, I believe 6% commission on to the state of Minnesota for sale. I think it's 6. Don't quote me.
For both units you're talking? Or is it separate being it's a
They're separate,
vehicle?
2 separate auctions.
Oh,
Yeah, we did 2 separate lots there.
no, but I'm saying a vehicle you pay 6%, a bridge you don't, or not?
Yeah, anything you sell in there, there's
Oh, it's
everything.
just
We're
flat rate.
gonna come up with some, we have the old Lions benches, things like that we have stuff in the shed, maybe some old bikes, if we gotta find out which ones we can get rid of from PD. Some of this stuff, we're running out of room, some old lockers down there have been there for 25 years in the shed that if we haven't used them yet, let's sell them. You might not get anything, but let's make more room, so we'll bring that maybe in September to you to get a list of. Other than that, I don't know if I have anything else for you guys. Like I say, a lot on the sewer stuff, kind of trying to wrap that up with all the lift station and the placements and all that stuff's been taking a little bit extra time.
I don't know if you've had any discussion. I had an email sent to me about school zone speed limit signs on Norman.
That comes up every other year.
Speed study, right? Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can do it, but you need to do a
Well, no,
official-
the county's gonna do it.
Oh, they're doing
But I
that.
didn't know if they had, that's kind of a shared,
Oh, what-
It's hard for enforcement is what the problem is, you know that on one. Can't just have a sign up that says,
when flashing.
you can do when flashing, but then, can't
Well,
just-
that might come down the pipe here.
I think, we'll work on that. Yeah.
They keep us informed and, we'll
'Kay.
work with them as what we need to
I
do.
mean, it's in the city limits, but it's a county road, that's the,
I would imagine we'd cooperate with the county on that,
'Kay.
so.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
With
about-
mention to, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm good.
I was say, with mention to trails, do you have an idea of where you're gonna start or what you're gonna do with that yet?
Overlays?
With trails, yeah, with taking some of that money you said and fixing up some trails?
Probably, I can't remember, there was something in the middle, but then along Norman, from Oak going back north, there's several sections there that needed, I know. And I think and I say, we just gotta figure out how much we can do. The stretch from the nursing home to the apartments is getting pretty rough. I don't know about the crossroads back to the fire hall. We have them kind of broke down by areas, and then.
Is the trail that goes along Lone Ridge Lane, is that a part of city, or what is that a part of exactly?
That's
That
part of the
it kind of
city.
abruptly ends,
Mm-hmm.
was meant to go further. It's used a lot, but it just stops.
I think what our intent with this money was just maintenance at this point, cause we do that every year, but, I mean, that's something we certainly can look at with our pedestrian plan to see.
Is
what
that
we're-
maintenance, is the maintenance on what is completed, is that maintenance by the city?
Yeah, for the Lone Ridge Trail, we have that trail for maintenance.
Is that,
don't we?
okay, I didn't know for
Yeah.
sure
Yep,
that was.
that's ours. Yep.
Fair, yeah. Yeah, no, we just go straight with the snow. I think, the neighbor plows most of the trail.
Sure.
But I think that was supposed to be extended when the, how,
Right, when the,
Next
But,
phase.
yeah.
yeah,
I think that was the plan of that, if I remember.
yeah, yep. Just,
Is that getting rough back there, to be honest? I don't go up to that often, so.
I wouldn't say it's rough, no. Just curious, cause
Norman is getting-
it just abruptly ends.
Norman is getting rough. So, any other question on either side? I don't think I have.
Well, as long as we're bringing up trails and basically, I don't know if anybody's looked at North Broadway on the north side of 23, but evidently they only replace certain parts of those sidewalk areas. So we've got one that's an inch higher than another. We've got a portion that they didn't put in anything except leave the driveway, which is breaking up, and I know that because that's mine.
Yeah.
And it's ugly.
The good news is, we probably aren't gonna touch, or the bad news is, we probably aren't gonna touch it now, cause in 2025, we're hoping to do the entire Broadway Avenue full reconstruct project. It'd be a sidewalk on one side of that road, the east side where it was, and then, a full rebuild with water, sewer, storm and everything.
Okay.
We'll discuss that a bit more at
And
budget
I do
too.
have a question that I don't understand. You go Fourth Avenue and they've got sidewalks on both sides? What's the difference between Broadway and Fourth Avenue? Because more kids walk to school on Broadway than Fourth Avenue.
We've had, Jared tell me, we've had this discussion we're doing some preliminary design. I don't know if it's cause Fourth is a county road, you know, probably
Oh,
the
I
county.
didn't, okay.
The county pays
okay.
for sidewalks on there, we pay for sidewalks on Broadway.
Okay, then I
So-
understand.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Essentially, it comes down.
that's
yeah.
kinda what we
That-
came
that's
up
the-
with,
That's the gist of it, yeah.
and we're looking at, and we'll talk about it in 2 weeks, putting both sides back on Fourth. You know, sidewalks, and probably one on Broadway. But that's
Yeah.
all. Things that'll come to you guys, but yes, it's in 2 weeks, but it's a year and a half out. But we'll be talking next year.
You have
Anything else?
anything on fire?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless you have any, like I say, we'll get the two, and yes, we could use more firefighters. Missed out a couple nice Tahoes down Eden Prairie, so. 2 months.
Thank you. Administration, Sarah Brunn.
Okay, first I wanna, bring something up that I wanna add to my report. I met with the new superintendent today, regarding the, storm sewer reimbursement that we're seeking from them. And, one of the questions that I was asked is, we had kind of been talking about some different payment options, and one of the questions I was asked if the council would consider a 10-year payment option, or agreement with the city. We may run it through a special assessment or we may not, cause we do have a billing relationship with them with the SRO. But I guess I'm just looking for some feedback from you if that's something that the council would entertain. It's a $74,000 bill for their portion. But I think there's just some concern over the budgetary, you know, making that work within, what else they need to get done and so forth. So, do you think that's an option, or?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, considering that,
Absolutely.
Well, we can, I mean, they can do a further, you know, and I can push on them for that, but I said I gotta go back and ask if it's gonna drag out that
Were-
long.
were they okay paying that portion?
Well, that's still
Could-
to be determined, because I
Okay.
was told yay, the school board voted on it, but then, I had a discussion with the new superintendent and they're questioning that, so we're working through that item as well.
Alright, that's the vibe I got, was
Mhm.
that if they had to pay, what can we do to be more lenient on repayment, but also, should they have to
You're-
pay, was really more the,
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened or what was communicated, you know, before, I mean, we submitted that information, but I guess I don't know exactly the discussions at the board level, so I'll continue to work with them, I wanted to make sure that you guys were okay with that, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't like extending it out that far either, but if it gets it done and over with, I'm okay to move on. Okay, that's enough for now, on that. The next thing I have is the industrial park concept. The reason I have this on the, agenda is because I really need the council to finalize what, concept or layout we'd like to see with the industrial park in order for me to apply for, potential deed infrastructure funding. So as you recall, we, had two options. I just showed you the first one, which is just kind of like a dead-end road, and then you have the looped version. The costs, not quite double on the looped version versus the single access. I'm gonna pull the number here. So you're looking at about 1.8 on the single, and then and jump in, Jared, if I'm got the wrong.
You're correct there.
Okay, and then about 3.3 on the loop. So the question for the council is, what option do you want to use? And then, as long as I know that, then I can move forward with working with applications. So, questions? You know, we had provided this stuff, and I know we have some new members. We had talked through a number of these things a number of times, but any thoughts? We just want to move forward at least. You know, it can take some time to get your applications in and funded and so forth.
Mark, you don't see an issue with the turnaround?
I don't like them, but also don't like spending double the money.
Right.
Yeah, so,
Well,
for the same number of lots.
Right.
it's easier to sell if you have someone that needs two lots side by side rather than the other version.
Sure.
And then I'll state south of Raleigh's, I guess is the landmark, they have two industrial parks, one going south and then west, and then go down to the transfer station and go west, and that one goes north. Both those are cul-de-sac, like the first option, is how their industrial parks are set up there.
The other advantage that I heard back from Amanda at BEP was, you know, she said we're seeing it's more 5 to 10 acre lot requests. So she said she's reviewed these two as well. She said her preference would be the ability to have larger lots.
which this allows for.
And, you know, the other thing too, when you come to like lot area coverage with that wetland that's located on the back end of like L7-6, you know, you can use that space to, we have like lot coverage ratios and things like that. You can use that excess land as part of that calculation, because there's not much we can do unless we pay for mitigation, which is quite expensive. But by setting up this way too, you're probably getting a good utilization of that property.
Are we seeing the end of the current industrial park on the upper right-hand corner?
Yeah, you're seeing silt sock.
Silt sock, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I guess if there's a preference, I just need some direction and.
I like number 2. Especially for.
This one?
I was
the
gonna
one
say-
we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
The-
That
No,
one
the
there.
other one.
This one.
That one there.
Single entrance, yep.
Yep.
You have more flexibility here.
Yeah, flexibility and price makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, those added together, definitely.
Okay, we're all in consensus.
Do we need a motion to approve?
Why don't you just motion that we, just in case Deed asks me for that, I'm not quite sure if they will or not. You know, that we approve this concept to move forward with planning.
I make the motion that we approve site concept 2 for our industrial park.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all for say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried.
Thank you. And then the last item I wanna let you know is we're, wrapping up, some of the information on our 2024 budget. Our accountant is out on vacation, but we'll be back, shortly here to give kind of the final touches on that. So you should hopefully have a hard copy packet by the end of the week or early next. Again, for those of you new to the budget, we present you a draft budget. We will have a workshop meeting on the 15th of August. It's a roundtable discussion, and that's what we talk about. Like this, don't like that, you know, need to make this, wanna add something in, so bring your questions, comments, concerns, whatever they may be. We do have some one-time money coming that we built into the budget, with some of the legislation that was passed. But, you know, continue to struggle with, the fact that, we have not been able to do any growing, you know, any new building and so forth, that pinches year after year. And then also just with the inflation costs and, you know, some of the volatility in the insurance market and so forth. But we'll have more information. If you have any, you know, questions in the meantime, reach out to the department heads, and otherwise you should be seeing something shortly.
Will that include the, kind of the proposed numbers we talked about with lawn irrigation and going to winter sewer
Yes.
rates and things?
Yes, so I did, I've been working with PFA and then our funding specialist, Chelsea, with Bolton. And I do have some options. We kind of settled on one actually yesterday, that will be presented. So that option moving forward, if you want to implement it, we'll give you a recommendation on that. Understanding that we don't know exactly how habits may change, so we're gonna have to be prepared for whatever change we make. We may have to make some adjustments the following year. But that's with anything. We can't always predict exactly how things are gonna go. But yes, it will be in there as part of the budget.
Office Sarah, at one point, looked into a program with both rain barrels and the compost units, that some communities go with the company and they can buy them, citizens can buy them. Is this something we can do in adjunct to offer those of us who aren't really in favor of watering, you know, give us something environmentally sound?
Sure. I mean, I can check.
I mean,
I
I
know
don't
she
know
did
if
give me
it's-
some information.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, that's definitely something, if the council wants to add something to the budget or find some funds to help with a program like that, bring those ideas too, you know, and we can talk through. We do have some, like funding in our budget every year for, like, you know, conservation things, and, you know, we're always mindful of that, and actually our water, like our wellhead protection program requires us to do so many things like that to educate people about the water resources and so forth. So I think we could build something in within those programs and resources.
Anyone else? Old business, update on county building acquisition.
I can take this one. So I have reached out to the library. I met with them a couple weeks ago and got some information. We're doing some homework basically on if we were to relocate the library. County dug some plans out. We're still trying to get those assembled and copied because they're kind of old. But we also are verifying like the weight load of the what the building can handle for loading. With bookshelves, we'll have to figure out where the support beams are. Just some information that the library had given me that is kind of on their checklist before we move to the next step. So that's where we're at. I don't have anything official to report. We're still just gathering information. And I've been sending questions to the county, and they're, you know, working on it or getting back to us. If we need to, they'll help us with getting a structural engineer to take a look at something if we need to verify or whatever. So in progress, that's where we're at.
So they're still entertaining the idea, the county, as far as us moving the library over?
Yes, yep. They're entertaining it, and the library was, I mean, their biggest questions are what kind of space will that provide us? And right away I said, if it's not gonna provide you benefit as far as you need this space and they could use more, it's not worth us doing that if it's not gonna solve our, you know, long-term needs. So,
right.
We both recognize that going into it, but it is quite a large facility, so we're gonna look into it more.
Any other old business? New business? I have one comment or something to that effect. So I had an individual call me and they were $4 light on their water bill, whether they wrote out the check wrong or whatever mistake was made. And it was then brought forward that they were gonna get their water shut off because of $4. So if Sarah or someone would explain that to the other individuals, so I don't have to repeat this.
The
As
letter
far
was,
as what the cutoff is,
yep, I just wanna make sure. So the late fee triggers when anybody is $2 or more short on their payment. That triggers a $25 late fee, which we've had in place for a number of years. Regarding the shut-off letters, anything over $25 gets a letter. So you can have an overage and then a late fee, and if you let it carry over a few weeks, it can roll over into the delinquent cycle. So it rolled over a month. So then there is a letter sent. I sent the council an email just reminding, they just need to pay the bill. No further action will occur if they pay the bill on the letter. We send those a month in advance before we do any disconnect. Does that answer your question?
I just wanted to make sure the council was all aware of this, so that individual understood too.
Yep, and that the rate you set that at, we can change that if you'd like. If you'd rather have it higher or lower, whatever it is. We do that, Mark, because sometimes people sense transfer over, that's what we most often see. But that's up to your discretion if the council wishes to make a change on that. All I'll ask is that that's clearly communicated within policy so we can be consistent.
Anyone have any comment on that?
If the policy's working, it's not worth changing.
I understand that, but you gotta realize what we've done in the last 3 years with water billing. When it was quarterly, $2 over trigger, probably, yes. Now that it's monthly, it's a whole different ratio we're working with again now, but I'm open to any suggestions, or we can leave it as is. Hearing none, any other new business? Mayor's comments and second open forum. Would anyone like to speak? Now is your chance. Any of the council like to say what they've been doing or anything they've attended lately?
Well, I do coffee with counselor the last Saturday of every month from 11:30 to 11 o'clock to 12:30. Anyway, I had a thing brought up, and I've looked into puppy mill issues, and really the state looks at even puppy and their livestock to our state. There is nothing really, we don't have a massive problem that we can see, or that I know of anyway. And the state looks at selling dogs as selling livestock. They are trying within the legislature to change the issue. And I'm working now with Rough Start Rescue on letter writing to get people a little more knowledgeable that puppy mills are now mom and pop operations. They're not big barns with tiny cages. So I am working that way, but that's not something we can do here in Foley because we don't have a big issue, sadly, or happily, however you want to look at it. So that's what I've been up to.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I will be attending the public forum with the commissioners on Tuesday.
The 15th?
Yes.
Right. I should point out on the 17th is Movie in the Park by the Thriving Communities Initiative. It will also, should, have the 3 artists that have been commissioned for the welcome sign. Their proposals, concept art, if you will, should be present at that as well. They'll be presenting to the Economic Development Committee on Tuesday the 15th first. So
What time is that meeting?
tentatively 2 p.m. And then the Movie in the Park, I believe the event starts at 5, movie starts near dark, and that'll be at Lions Park, 5:30, Lions Park for this particular event. So.
Very good.
So next meeting, we should have some idea of cost and whatever.
Yep.
I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? All for say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
They will later on. So when you talk to Martha,
And then if someone has to get it out.
she should let you check with you.
Chamber
first.
golf
Talk to her when she's back right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that you guys, why didn't they do
Sunday,
this?
you were playing ahead of me on
Because,
Sunday.
so I got her husband.
You were at Foley, yeah, you were at Foley, right, on Sunday, was that you?
I know.
Yep.